I've been muted this whole time. Way to go, me. All right. Yeah, this is Monday, February 2nd, 2026. This is Morning Talk. I am SirFelixTheCat. I was not looking at the fact that I was muted, and let's get into some stories. All right. Okay, so the first one is something that's disgusting. Trump says Kennedy Center will close in July for 2-year renovation. I cannot imagine what gaudy disaster this is going to look like. Just imagining it's going to have gold everywhere. It's going to look disgusting. If it looks anything like he's done to the White House, it is going to be vile. And it's probably going to have his name over everything and less of Kennedy, because everything's all about Trump. So we'll see about that. That's just upsetting. Destroying more, landmarks. Anyways, real stories. Mike Johnson told not to count on Dems votes to end shutdown. We're going to be seeing I don't think it's going to be a long shutdown, probably just a short-term shutdown. But yeah, Jeffries and the Democrats in the House have come out and told him, yeah, dude, we're not going to be supporting anything you support. So what it do? But he's still going to try to end it by tomorrow. Will that happen? Don't think so. Even a simple majority, I don't think he'll get that, because a lot of Republicans have also turned on the whole DHS funding. They've turned on ICE because what they're doing is unconstitutional. They're all starting to wake up to the fact hey, we probably shouldn't have these untrained armed terrorists on the street killing U.S. citizens. That doesn't look good. And it looks even worse that Republicans keep pushing it. They're starting to understand this is bad for us. This is not a good thing, which is awesome. It's awesome to see them wake up, get to the same level we're at. Hey, this shouldn't be happening. This is disgusting. Next up, we have from PBS. Federal judge says she won't halt the immigration enforcement surge in Minnesota as lawsuit proceeds. Which is a big letdown. That's a very big letdown. The judge basically is saying here, and there's no other way to interpret this, I want more citizens to die while this case goes on. That's it, because that's what's happening. She wants terrorism to continue while this case goes on. Because again, that's another thing you can't look at any other way. What ICE is doing is not any legal or law enforcement of any way. It's just pure terrorism. It is using force and violence against civilians for a political cause. That is all it is. Terrorism. State-funded terrorism. Wonderful. Oh, it's vile. One of the biggest stories we had over the weekend was 3 million documents from the Epstein files were released, and they were the worst edit job you've ever seen in your life, where some pages were duplicated. Sometimes they'd have the censor bars over everything, redactions, and then the next one would come out. It'd be the same paper without the redactions, and you'd see that these redactions that are doing are covering up nothing. They're going against everything that was supposed to be redacted. The only things that were supposed to be redacted were the victims' names. And then I understand, maybe if it's a terrible, terrible crime, then I get that. I get that. We don't want to read about the acts that took place. We also had a lot of people thrown under the bus, or I guess not thrown under the bus, outed for what things they were doing, like Bill Gates. How he was, he got an STD and then lied to his wife about it, because he was cheating on her, and then was going to Epstein to get drugs to give her without her knowing, so she wouldn't know that she had the STD. That's disgusting. That's vilely disgusting. We had tons of people. Trump was brought up. There was one that was a list of all these alleged complaints against Trump and Epstein, and several others. Bill Clinton's in there too. Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. But Todd Blanch says review of Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking case is over. Deputy U.S. Attorney General says victims want to be made whole, but that doesn't mean we can just create evidence. Is this all of the Epstein information? I doubt it. Is this all this administration wants to give us? That I believe. Because they've made it clear from the start. If it's going to harm anyone's going to get outed that's, they agree with or has money. We have to protect them. So, yeah, we'll see how this goes. I don't believe this is over. I think once this administration's out, we'll get more, unless they go through and find a way to actually literally destroy everything, which could happen. Very well could happen. Oh, yeah, Musk was outed too. Musk, who has for a while been claiming like, no. Epstein invited me to his island, but I always refused. Then you see the email chains where Musk is begging to come to the island. Just keeps asking him, like, can I come? Can I come? Please, can I come? Can you throw a big party and have me come? And in the end, it was Epstein who turned him down, which is pretty funny. Yeah, and then Howard Lutnick, he also tried to be like, yeah, those other people, they hung out with Epstein. I didn't. Then we see the chains of like, no, you and your wife loved hanging out with him, kept planning events with him. Good job. We had big news in Texas. 2 Democrats actually flipped red districts. And we got Texas Senate District 9 and what's the other one? There was another district. That was the Fort Worth area district. And they're not calling out the other number. I should have read through this better. I do apologize. I had another article, but it flagged me for a pop-up or a ad blocker, so I had to get rid of it. Assumed this one would sell me all the same information, and it did not. Awesome. But yeah, we flipped 2 districts, which is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So hopefully we'll see some change. This might cause some people to be like, oh, we're going to flip all of Texas blue. That's probably not going to happen, like, ever. I highly doubt that. Will we possibly get a little bit more of a purple tinge unless it's, gerrymandered again and again and again by Republicans? Possibly. We could have more of a purple map there, which would be awesome. More people who wake up to the fact that Republicans are doing no service to them. They provide no service to you at all. The better we become. And I'm not saying Democrats are perfect. Far from it. But going from Republican to Democrat is at least taking a step to the left. If they can then get from the Democrats and step left again, the whole country will be in a better place. We'll talk more about that in a minute. And then we have Politico. There's something bigger going on. State election chiefs rebuff Trump bid to seize voter rolls. This has been an issue going on for this whole administration. Politico says here, roughly 24 states have rejected the Trump administration's request to basically be handed over the voter rolls, which is something they do not need. The only thing they could possibly do with this is find a way to cheat for the next election, which is what this is coming down to. They're pushing so hard because they want to have this done by the midterm elections, which are coming up this year. They want to have a way to rig this election. There is no question about that. There is no other way to look at this. Oh, they're doing it to make sure nobody's illegally voting. Dude, nobody illegally votes in this country. That's just a thing that happens. And when it does, it's usually Republicans who voted twice who are trying to cheat. Yes, we've had a couple cases. I think it was like you had 2 cases of Democrats doing it throughout the whole country. and then like 25 plus cases of Republicans doing it for this last election, usually trying to vote for dead loved ones. Like, I know my mom died like 6 years ago, but I'm going to try to vote for her now because I need Trump to win so we can spread more hate and racism. Because again, there's no other way to look at that. Is he benefiting anyone? No. I mean, yeah, I'll admit what I talked about on Friday with, what's her name? Nicki Minaj, and the whole giving money to newborns, like creating a savings account for them. That's great. That is a good step. It only works, though, if the president doesn't tank the economy like he is doing, like he is purposely going out of his way to do. So, yeah, that money might be set aside now, but come May, when he gets his little sycophant put in the seat of the Fed, that's done. That is done. The dollar will be worth zero. It'll be absolutely worthless. The paper it's printed on will be worth more than the currency stamped on it. That is the future we're looking forward to. Because again, we're dealing with people who don't understand how to run a business. This is a guy who's bankrupt multiple businesses because he does not understand business. The only times his businesses do well is when other people are sitting in the heads of the company to run it, because he is incompetent. He is not a deal maker. He made a deal with other countries for something we already have. Genius. He's done nothing good for the country whatsoever. And we're seeing him trying to destroy it further, destroy our elections. Also, we run the risk of he could just reach out to Mike Johnson, who will get on his knees and be like, yes, master, let me slurp out of that diaper. And have Congress push back the date of the election to whenever they feel like, aka 2 years from now. Essentially canceling the midterms. Because that's something Trump has been asking for. Maybe we should cancel the midterms. Maybe we shouldn't have another election. If you vote for me now, you'll never have to vote again. His words, direct quote. Yeah, you can say, oh, no, he meant you'll never have to quit trying to defend him. This dude is not smart enough to string a sentence together like that and be like, oh, I'm going to be witty about it. We've seen every time he opens his mouth, you see he is not smart. He's not intelligent enough to play witty little games with people. Look at me play word games. No, he does the weave, which is basically, I'm talking here, my dementia brought me over here, then it brought me over here. Oh, yeah, that's right. I was talking about this. Let me talk about this. I call it the weave. You know, you go here and then there and there. No, dude, it's dementia. You have dementia. And those were really all the news stories I pulled up. We got to stop this from happening. They cannot get the voter rolls. Every state needs to fight against that. It's disgusting. What's sad is red states who are blue cities in red states, they'll probably get screwed over because the state will fight for Trump. Even though they shouldn't. They absolutely should not. But I did want to talk a little bit about, let me get my phone ready because I did write down a bunch of stuff last night as I was going to sleep. Why we need better politics. Because I don't think people understand this enough. The situation that we're in. We do not have representation for the people. No matter who you're voting for, you are not represented by them. Our politics right now represent corporations and the wealthy. Even when it comes to the Democrats, yeah, they make them pay a little bit more taxes. They don't give them the tax cuts that the Republicans do. But they still go easy on them. They might put a little bit of regulations in there. You know, we're going to make it seem like we're being rough on you, but we're really not. We're doing the slightest little bit we possibly can to make sure you don't destroy our environment by polluting it. But, you know, that's what it do. So I'm going to start with currently, and then I'm going to work into Republicans overall. Then I'll touch on Democrats. currently, this current administration, we basically have someone who aspires to be a true dictator. And it's not just him. I mean, we know Trump does love what Hitler, he loves what Hitler did. He loves it. He kept Mein Kampf on his nightstand so he could read it. So at least we know he could read at one point in his life. But he set up a deal with Maduro and they invaded Venezuela. And it was all for Venezuelan oil. He then took that oil, made a deal to sell it for $500 million. And for some reason, which shouldn't happen, he moved that $500 million to an offshore account in Qatar, however you pronounce it. I believe it's Qatar. And yeah, that's not a good thing. That's sketchy as all hell. That's as sketchy as getting an airplane from, Qatar. We have people like Stephen Miller, Nosferatu, who is actually running our country. Trump right now is just like the puppet for Stephen Miller's presidency. Stephen Miller is the one who encourages ICE to kill civilians. Literally, watch his Fox News interview. He encourages ICE to kill people, to kill U.S. citizens. Because if you don't agree with us, you don't deserve to live here. That's his whole mindset. If you're not looking for a white ethno state, you do not belong here. That's Stephen Miller. One of the most vile, disgusting people to ever exist on this planet. So if you're supporting Trump, you are supporting everything. Every single thing Stephen Miller stands for. So yes, if you're supporting this, you are admitting, yeah, I'm racist. Yeah, I'm a bigot. Yes, I'm filled with hate. I hate everyone who is not just like me. Again, there is no other way to look at that. We've known this as fact since this administration, since the campaign started, that he wants Stephen Miller to be there. We knew this. This was obvious. It was in plain sight. You can't just say, oh, well, I didn't know that. You chose to ignore it. You chose to ignore the signs of, hey, this is going to be purely an administration of hate, racism, bigotry, and destroying America. Again, there is no other sign that points to, no, it possibly could have been better. No, the way this was building up, there was only one route. And that's exactly where we're at. And again, with Stephen Miller, we have ICE. He encouraged ICE to kill people. And this is after ICE had already killed someone or multiple people. Multiple people have died by shooting or basically assault of ICE, like these terrorists killing people. Not just on the streets, but in custody. It's a fact. If you need medication while you're in ICE detention, like life-saving medication, they're not giving it to you. They can't be bothered. They have children in these detention camps. They're disgusting. They're also very untrained. Very untrained. We're basically taking people who aren't even thoroughly being vetted. They could be criminals. They could have just extreme links to the KKK and stuff. And we're just being like, hey, here's a gun. Get out there. Go do it. You know how to hold a gun, right? Because of course the way to hold a gun is while you're waving it around at civilians, you have your finger on the trigger, right? That's smart. That's what an intelligent person does. No, gun safety. You hold your gun like this. Then you can pop your finger into where the trigger is. But for the most part, you keep it straight. That way you don't accidentally shoot not just civilians, innocent people, but also the guys you're working with. I'm surprised we haven't seen ICE on ICE shootings yet, because these morons don't know how to handle a gun, whatsoever. God, I hate them. I hate them. I thoroughly stand by. Let me read it again. Governments derive their just powers from the consent of the governed. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. Abolish ICE. Abolish ICE. And I've already covered breeding hate and racism during this administrations, or both administrations. Yeah, that's what it's all been about. Breeding hate. Like, think back to when he tried to overthrow the government, when he told his people to attack, to fight. Every time he says something like that, it is a call. It is a dog whistle. He's telling his people to overthrow the country for him. Kill in favor of him. The dude is unfit for office. There is not a single thing about Trump that makes him fit for office. Ever. Ever in his life has he been fit for office of any sort. I mean, even being on a city council, he's unfit for it. Dude does not belong. We also have his blatant attempts to revoke the First Amendment. Not just talking about trying to cancel Stephen Colbert, or he successfully is getting Stephen Colbert canceled, getting Jimmy Kimmel canceled for a short time. But if you're coming to this country and on your Facebook or your Twitter, you've ever posted something about, hey, I don't like that Trump did this. Well, when you come here, they're going to flag that post and they're going to hold you in detention and question you on stuff. Because how dare you speak ill about our leader, about dear leader. That's the mentality they have. That's the mentality they're trying to breed to people, is if you don't support Trump 100%, you are evil. Look at Republicans who have gone against him. Oh, they're just rhinos. No, they're Republicans. You're an evil Nazi scumbag. There's a big difference. You're far right, while Republicans are just on the right. They don't do good things for you either way, but God. The administration and their attempts to stifle the Epstein files, which I already talked about that a little bit. And then, yeah, telling lies about it being complete, which I covered that article today. Attempting to overthrow the government. Grifting his supporters for everything they've got. And he's still doing it. Still doing it. His campaign, which, why is he campaigning right now? Is sending out emails to his supporters. First, they start off creepy, like, I'm sitting here alone. Everybody's already gone home. It's just me and my dying laptop. And I need your money, basically. Then he sent another one, which is also creepy, which is because they got so much attention from the first one. They decided to be creepy with it again because they're like, haha, look at us. We're clever. And then they sent another one recently, which was disgusting in every way. Saying, hey, you haven't responded to us yet. I know you're a true MAGA supporter. Or, are you not a real citizen? Do we need to send ICE after you? Literally saying, because you're not donating to me, should we probably call ICE on you? Yeah, I get it. It's probably trying to be like, we're funny. That's disgusting. You're saying, should we send our armed, government-funded terrorist group after you? These guys who are probably going to kill you because they're too dumb to know how to use a gun properly. They're too dumb to have these jobs. Should we send them after you? That's a threat. That's a threat against their lives. Haha, it's funny. No, it's disgusting. That is absolutely disgusting. And then for overall Republicans, one of the biggest gripes I have about them, besides, trickle-down economics, which is complete and utter bullshit. That's not a thing. That never going to work. The rich will not give you money. So no, it's not going to trickle down. It'll get to them and stop. Look at the rich who are focusing on trying to make AI take over your job. Because yes, there are AI companies that are focused on just taking over your job. Are they going to then let that money trickle down after they get it? No. They're going to keep it, watch you lose your job, watch you lose your house, be on the street, lose everything. Because they don't care about you. As we see, go back to California. They're trying to push a law, which Gavin Newsom's against, about where billionaires will have to pay a one-time 5% tax. One time. Not like every year. One time. And all these wealthy people are like, oh, I got to get the hell out of this state. I'm not doing that. Because how dare my money go to helping others? Again, it's another thing you look at, and there's no other way to look at it. They don't care about you. Their money is not for you. Why should you have any of my money? Dude, I've seen homeless people and been like, well, all I have is a 20. I see this person struggling. They need something, and I've given them the 20. And I live paycheck to paycheck myself. It's about caring about everyone. That's what the world should focus on. I'm not done with Republicans. The worst thing they do is continually try to destroy our education system in this country. This administration is doing it really, really well, like a swell job. They're planning on basically just shutting it all down. Because as the Reagan administration knew when they started this, if people are uneducated, they will continue to support Republicans and their constant lies. That is their logic. That is why they did this. I'm saying you're an idiot because I'm smarter than you. No, that's what they think. They think they are smarter than you. So they're going to make sure you do not get educated. So you'll agree with the stupid things they say that are just blatantly false. They want people to be dumb. They stay in power if people aren't able to educate themselves to understand what they're doing is bad. It's like Trump keeps saying, no, the people don't pay the tariffs. Okay, kinda. Directly, we do not directly pay the tariff. But that company shipping the thing in, well, they jacked up their price to compensate for the tariff and then some. And we're paying that. So yeah, they paid the tariff and then made all their money back plus some. So yes, in the end, we paid the tariff. You're paying more because of tariffs. There is no argument to that. We pay the tariff. This president and Republicans overall screw the country every time they can. They've brought us into multiple recessions, and every time what gets us out of it is having a Democrat in office, someone who understands money. And no, Democrats are not perfect. Sometimes they step up, and there are a couple who do fight for us, because truly there are a few who do. Some might make some mistakes, and I hold those mistakes against them. I love Jasmine Crockett, but Jesus Christ, the things she's done supporting Israel and stuff like that, like genocides, disgusting. But the DNC overall is trash. The DNC is why we had Hillary instead of Bernie. That was the DNC. The DNC also don't want people to thrive. Because again, these people who are sitting on the board of the DNC are Republican light. They are not on the left whatsoever. They're just to the left of murdering the homeless. Even then, that's questionable. I think some of them might want to murder the homeless. Because, I mean, Friday I talked about Matt Mahon, I forget his name. Mayor of San Jose. One of the things he was griping on Gavin Newsom on is Gavin Newsom is trying to do certain things to not be brutal towards the homeless, build housing for them and all this stuff. Well, Matt's against that. He wants us to take a more forceful approach to it and get them out of the city. That's not caring for people. That's what the DNC looks like. They're moderates, if anything. And moderate is a very bullshit term we use. A moderate Democrat is a Republican who calls themselves a Democrat. So, Senator from Pennsylvania, Fetterman, he's a moderate who will bow down to Trump at any moment. Oh, please, daddy, let me bow down to you. That's a moderate. We have ineffectual Democrats. We have Chuck Schumer, who's going to write a strongly worded letter. We have Jeffries, who, like, one of the toughest things he's done is tell Mike Johnson, yeah, don't expect our votes. Oh, man, stand tough there. These are moderates. We need people who actually care about people to run the DNC. If you want to actually have representation on the left, you need people who care, are not just going to sit back and watch us get destroyed. But that's sadly what we're stuck with at the moment. And that's why we need better politics. Whether you're Republican, Democratic, left, hell, even far right, you don't truly have representation. I mean, I guess far right you do. It's just that he's not the president. Stephen Miller is the assistant or some secretary or the vampire who lives in Trump's closet, whatever it is. But we don't have representation as a people. And if we all had representation, imagine. Everybody wants a better life, right? Everybody in this country wants a better life. You want to not have to worry about things. You understand you might have to pay your taxes. Okay. Something we all have to do. But that's not something we all do. These corporations, a lot of times, pay less than we do in taxes, if anything. These billionaires and multimillionaires sometimes pay less than we do in taxes because of loopholes, tax cuts. We, the people, are funding the government, while the people who are benefiting from it don't do anything. And again, the government is supposed to serve the people. It's supposed to be there for the people. Which means, yes, Medicaid, Medicare, food stamps. They're to help the people. Because maybe right now, maybe you're working a nice cushy job, you're getting paid a decent amount, so it doesn't seem important to you for like food stamps and all this stuff to exist. Okay. Now, what if something bad happens to you? Say, we just had a big snowstorm that took over like half the country. Imagine you were driving in that snowstorm, hit some black ice you couldn't see, and now you're crippled. You're injured. You maybe lost control of an arm or lost an arm, lost a leg. You now need these things. But you didn't want them when you were healthy because you're doing fine now. I have plenty of money. No, we need policies that help people. We need these programs, social programs. Yes, they're socialist in nature, but they're there to protect people, make sure we can all thrive, live the American dream, as everybody loves to say. It's the American dream. And it's upsetting. It's upsetting that so many people want them cut. And a lot of people who want them cut and support the people who are cutting them need them themselves. A big portion of MAGA, yeah, they're blowing their money on all this merch, but they are struggling financially. They're also feeling these tariffs. They're getting screwed just as hard as we are. We need a healthcare policy that actually helps everyone in this country. We need the rich and corporations to pay their share of taxes. Like that whole policy in California shouldn't be just California that has to pay, like the rich has to pay the 5%. It should be across the country. Let's make the country better. If we didn't have Republicans constantly trying to screw us over with like trickle down and, you know, we don't need all these programs, we're wasting tax money, then watch us waste tax money as we do this, this, and this, and this, and this. Everything they do wastes tax money. We would have a UBI, and I'm giving my idea of a UBI. My idea of UBI, you would still work. You're not just getting free money. Well, to an extent you are. It's not enough to live off of, but it's at least enough to keep you going on top of your job. We would all thrive. If we managed our money right in this country and never let Republicans back in, and some Democrats, we would have free college because it could be fully funded. And no, it would not lower the quality of it. Canada has great healthcare, and they don't pay anywhere near as much as we do. We should have that here. Same with the UK. They have great healthcare. They don't pay near as much as we do. That's because we're so focused on, oh, socialist is communist. No, they're two different things. If you said two different words, they're two different things. That's where they want you to be uneducated. They don't want you to understand the things that they fight against benefit you. So we truly do need better politics. We need people who fight for the people and just for the people, keeping their wallets out of it, because that's what they do. You might have someone who runs a campaign, because truly, Fetterman ran a great campaign, and then he had a stroke, which took it down. But he sounded like he wanted to fight for the people. When he got in there, he didn't care anything about the people. He pushes every right-wing agenda that is against what the people want. And that's disgusting. That is disgusting. And a lot of times, like even you'll have some Republicans who sound like they're pretty decent. They're lying to you. Once they get that power, they flip. And they're just pure evil. Because now they're able to get money from corporations. They're now able to do better insider trading than we could ever dream of doing. And it's sad. But yeah, that was what I had for this week. Oh, hey, Pinky, I didn't see you jump in. And yeah, those Epstein files are crazy. There's still a lot to go over. But yeah, that's what I had for today. I will be back tomorrow with more. And yeah, until then, I hope you all take care, stay safe, and don't get shot by ICE. Hey, thanks for watching this video. And if you could, please help us out and give us a like, maybe comment, and subscribe. Better yet, share our content. It's pretty dark times out there, and this is topics that people need to hear. It's what's best for our country. I mean, we're talking about better politics. And also, if you want, join our Discord. Carry on the conversation. It's a fun time. And until next time, you take care.